Rima Rohra, welcome to the ROHFIT LifePod. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Rohan, and thank you for having me here.
It's a pleasure. So, before we kind of get into it, I just want to give the audience like a rundown of what this podcast is going to be about. Obviously, since this will be releasing leading up to and on the International Yoga Day, it's particularly wholly based on yoga. And there are many aspects of it that I believe that we spoke about off camera that I feel like the audience should know in an expansive way. So, before getting into all of that, I just want to give you the floor to kind of introduce yourself and what do you do?
So, I'm Rima, as Rohan said. I'm a yoga teacher and I'm an advanced pranayam teacher also. I work with energy, Reiki. I'm also a sound healer. So, as I advanced on my yogic journey, I actually started finding the subtle aspects of yoga more interesting, which affected our energy. So, I started concentrating on that. I'm practicing yoga from the past more than 10 years now. It's been a journey for me, and I wish that I can spread this awareness and help someone who needs it someday.
That's great. And obviously, this will be released in multiple parts. So, if people want to really take in this content in a very timely manner leading up to, International Yoga Day, they can do so. So, kicking off, usually it is a very known term. I mean, it is universally known, and especially it's deep in our Indian traditions. If you had to really break down yoga in the most purest form, like how would you deliver it to our audience?
So, yoga is in a Western world, yoga is all about stretching, going to the gym. My hamstrings are tight. Uh, a very city audience relates that to yoga, but actually, it's not yoga at all. You call it yoga. Yoga is actually from the Sanskrit term yuj, and yuj means to yoke or to bind together. So, yoga is a way of life. If you see the Bhagavad Gita, like for example, if you just see the chapter names actually have yoga of renunciation, yoga of meditation. Above every chapter is yoga of this, which clearly demonstrates that yoga is actually a spiritual path. It's the spiritual way. And the first definition which we know in the yoga teacher training or which everybody is taught is by the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali from this book, which is very famous. And the first definition is Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which means yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind. So if you have to go for a party and you say that, I have to go, what do I wear? Do I need to get my hair done? Do I need to get my makeup done? The party is the source which has created all these fluctuations in your mind.
Correct.
So the cessation of these fluctuations, like these up and down, will make your mind so calm that you will relate to the source, which is your Atman. That is yoga. So, the amount of fluctuations that a normal person has, including me, including everyone, is endless. It's like the stars in the sky. Can you count it? So, everything starts and ends with the mind. So, it's very important for people to know that it's cool to do a headstand and a handstand. It's amazing. But you do it because you like to do it. That is not purely yoga. That's a very small part of yoga, which is the asana practice. And it's a spiritual way of life.
Right.
So I just think that this message to go out there is very, very important on what yoga is exactly.
Correct. So, do you feel like we as human beings are going further away from the definition of yoga in terms of practicing it? And if so, how can we kind of bring that back? Essentially, are there any ways for us to bring that back to like our
Yes,
deepest
there are
selves?
ways to meditate, to do your sadhana, to do your, to have the tapas that you call in yoga, the fire, to know who you are, to identify. Like you are a set of patterns right now, which is okay, I'm a computer engineer, I am here, I am this is my father, I own this kind of money. These are your set patterns in life right now. But if you ever do a self inquiry within yourself, like a abhyasa, like a reflection on what are you exactly, then you will go deeper into that knowledge. Otherwise, if you just want to go stretching and if you do stretching and you're happy, then your whole life will go about that. So that feeling that you want to know who you are or you want to progress on the spiritual path, only then can you explore more into yoga.
Right. So is like, obviously a lot of people, if once given that insight, uh can they start their yoga journey by themselves, or they need a guru to start?
Traditionally, a guru is the way the system worked, but right now they can start. There are amazing authors. There's BKS Iyengar ji, the books from him. There is the Bhagavad Gita translations from so many people. So yes, it is completely doable. You can start, but you have to start somewhere.
Correct.
You have to start somewhere. Then the path is going to guide you.
Right.
So there are many paths. It's like even the Bhagavad Gita says, right? That there's Karma Yoga, there's Bhakti Yoga, there's Gyan Yoga. For someone who's super intelligent, the Gyan Yoga will work because they want to read, they want to understand, they want to analyze. For someone who's very devoted, Bhakti Yoga will work, which is complete surrender to the universe.
Mhm.
So yes, they can start on their own. They can, 100% yes.
Taking it back a little bit, I want to kind of delve into the history of yoga. As you mentioned that there are lots of information like the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. There's also yoga mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. What do you feel really connected with you in terms of, when you really started your journey in terms of exploring yoga as a whole, and like maybe at the most early stages of exploring this way of being?
So I actually started just to lose 1 kg, I think, or 2 kg weight.
Right.
I thought that, I should just start. But then eventually I started reading, and this book is the foundation for what I love, the
Mhm.
Light on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali.
Right.
And when my teacher gave me this for the first day, I found it so heavy. I actually went back and gave it back to him. And I said,
Oh,
you know what? I just read one line and I went to sleep. I said,
right.
this is not for me. I actually told him this and I returned the book back to him.
Mhm.
And then after 1, 2 years, I was just traveling at the airport and I saw this book again and I just picked it up. And then, of course, I went to a yoga intensive retreat and there I actually studied it. Studied as in I just studied two sutras.
Right.
But still, it was so heavy for my mind. And it was amazing because I realized in this book that Patanjali wrote everything about the mind. Like so many thousands of years back, they were so evolved that they started with the mind. But what has happened now is that we've actually gone downgraded the mind so much that now we are starting with the body. We're
Mhm.
starting with the body, we are training the body, and then we are coming to the mind.
Right.
So I would say that start reading the Bhagavad Gita is a easier version. It's more
Mhm.
simple for the modern society. And then read more into the lights on the Yoga Sutras, on something which pulls you.
Mhm.
Like for me, this book pulled me, Bhagavad Gita pulled me. So I
Mhm.
stuck to them. But there are
Mhm.
lots of other books.
Right.
There is the Heart of Yoga also. Then there are n number of books from BKS Iyengar, which is Light on Pranayam, Light on Life, how to live life. So
Mhm.
those books could help you.
Right. And like, for example, any person who is starting off, with the practice of yoga, you know, uh, a lot of the times they stop from starting their journey because they feel that it's so difficult
Yeah.
that the minute they try to, kind of push their focus towards one direction and one, like, just starting off, they're like, I'm too distracted, or I'm getting too many thoughts, or I'm getting too many anxious thoughts,
Yeah.
or something's worrying me, and that's why I can't do yoga. So, is there, like, obviously we'll get into it deeper, but on the surface, if somebody had to, like, say, start, and these are the issues that they are facing, like, how could one deal with that?
So one could actually create a resolution or
Mhm.
resolve, which you call Sankalp in yoga.
Right.
So Sankalp is from the term sun and kalp. They are Sanskrit terms. Sun means to be connected to the consciousness, and kalp means to resolve. It's
Right.
not it's not intention. Intention is a very loosely translated version. It's more about a resolve. So you could resolve that if I'm going to sit and like meditate, pray. So these are all sadhans. Sadhana is your spiritual action towards a spiritual goal, but sadhana are the tools which you use.
Right.
So the tools could be like breath work, pranayam. It could be sitting 5 minutes in peace. It could be downloading the app, and nowadays they have the mind app, this app, but doing the same thing every day. So
Mhm.
you could actually have a sankalp that I will sit at least 2 minutes. Let's start with 2 minutes every day, no matter what. I will sit 2 minutes and do my meditation, or 2 minutes and
Mhm.
do my pranayam, or a japa chanting.
Mhm.
If you create that resolve in your mind that you will do it for at least 6 weeks, the reason why I'm saying 6 weeks or 40 days is because our Vedic scriptures actually say that if you do something for a period of 6 weeks, it becomes a habit.
Right.
So create a resolve which is doable. Not ke, oh, from tomorrow, 1 hour meditation, I'm getting into Vipassana. No. Do 2 minutes, do 5 minutes. That 5 minutes could be like your own sanctuary where every day you come back to your own self, your own energy, and you accept that, okay, this is going on. Sit 5 minutes every day, no matter what. Do it, do it, do it, and then you will see the results. You'll actually be more aware. The results are like it's in, I can't even count them.
Right.
But if you don't have that sankalp, that willingness to do it, it's not going to work. So
Right.
initially, the initial stages, the willpower is the most important thing.
Right. So obviously we are in a day and age where like any sort of commitment or any sort of repetitive requirement for like as easy as building a habit, people overcomplicate the aspect of even going to the gym every day. Keeping a daily record for them is tough, especially in
Right.
this day and age. So what do you feel are the ways that people can actually make sure that if they're taking a sankalp to stick by it and to actually see it through?
So first, it depends on the person, to be honest. But if you're a person who loves to visualize, they could see the future version much happier, calmer, and then keep on thinking that, okay, I want to become that.
Mm-hmm.
Or they could write, they could actually journal and say that I am on my path, I am doing this, I'm proud of myself for committing on
Like
this path.
affirmation.
Like an affirmation for yourself if you're into a journaling practice. If you're not into journaling, you still have to depend on your willpower, which will come if you sit and meditate. But again, if you meditate, then that is your sadhana. So everything is so interrelated. It's like if you meditate every day, you will keep up with your resolutions. You can have bigger resolutions. But if you didn't start from day one, you're not going to go there, right?
Right.
So even the sadhans are related to that. So first 6 weeks, you have to say that no matter what, I'm going to do it. And you have to make sure that you do it.
That
So
sense of discipline has to be
yes,
there.
the discipline has to come. It has to, I mean, if you think that writing, making a chart, like initially I used to do that. I used to have a chart Monday with dots and then I would just like circle it every day. That, okay, today I did, today I did, today I did. If one day I didn't do, then I would be like, put a red mark and say, okay, I didn't do. But then I would not like criticize myself. I'd be like, okay, it's fine. I didn't do, but I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I think within a week or 10 days, when you see the results, is when you will start getting committed.
Correct.
But that initial willpower has to come. It has to come. You know, you can even pray. Like, you can simply just put a prayer and say that, dear God, Shiva, whichever you believe in, that I have started this and help me to be on it. Because the mind, if you don't train it, it's actually going to ruin your life.
True.
It's like today I said, I'm not going to have coffee. And, you know, I made this sankalpa. Tomorrow I just go and take the coffee and I have it. What message is that sending to my brain? It's just sending me that, oh, you made a sankalpa, but dude, you're nobody. It's not important because the mind has taken over. It's like, you know, the servant has taken over the boss. So you have to train the mind to say that this is what I want to do and you got to do what I'm telling you.
Right.
So, you know, it's tough. It's really difficult. Like, it's difficult for me to leave sugar in chai. So what I decided, instead of 4 cups, have 2 cups. But I've still not left it. I'm still on the journey.
Right.
You know, I tried brown sugar. I tried cane sugar. I Googled stevia. I did everything. I spent all the money and I'm back to sugar. So it's like the mind, to make it strong, is a very self attempt. And you have to make that conscious effort. You have to almost, it's like taking your power back. You know, like how even in the Bhagavad Gita, when they show the chariot, where they say that, you know, these are your senses and your soul is holding the grip. The moment that grip goes, they are actually taken over you.
Right.
So that's what's happened. The indriyas or the sensories have taken over us, which is, it's fine. It's a journey. Everyone goes through it, but you have to make that willingness in the beginning.
Right.
So do whatever it takes, but
you know, just to add, like, as an interesting aspect of this conversation, of late we had somebody else on the podcast, and he was also a yoga instructor, and he mentioned this one thing, that we're often slaves to our mind, and our mind runs on only one thing, and that's intellect. And intellect is like a dagger because it wants to try to cut into everything and question it.
Yes.
And hence, I think in today's day and age, we have become such creatures that there's so much information flowing, there's so many interactions that's happening, that you've always been asking the why of everything.
Right.
So there are a lot of times where I've also seen me along with me, along with my friends, a few family members, like, why should I take this sankalp, or why should I make this commitment, or why, to actually compare those with the people who have taken it and who are on the other side of the coin. They have been like, okay, why hadn't I taken it?
Yeah.
And they only realize the benefits of it, and how invigorating it feels after they had done it.
Yeah.
And we are living in a day and age where people are not even willing to cross that barrier.
Yeah.
And that is what is making them push it. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Okay, I'll find a reason, I'll find an excuse.
Yeah.
And which just shows that we are slowly moving to a state of convenience.
Yes.
And that state of convenience is causing us to be less in control of ourselves, or our minds, or our bodies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes it comes as a setback also. People go through things in life. So if everything is working on track, like people would question me that zarurat kya hai? Why do you want to do yoga? Why do you want to meditate? You have a happy life, you have work, you have a business, you have everything. What is the point? So if everything is going well, why would you go there?
Right.
So then they are waiting. They are almost waiting for a setback to happen, so they would go on the path. But I would just tell the audience that don't wait for the setback. Create your mind so strong that setback has no effect on you, right?
Right.
So you're right that the ego has taken over. It's just like, okay, you make a sankalpa and tomorrow it's gone.
Like, adding to that aspect, I also wanted to ask, do you feel like spending more time with yourself can strengthen your resolve?
Yes, absolutely.
within yourself?
Absolutely, yes. I think solitude in a good way, of being with yourself, of knowing yourself, which almost no one knows, is very, very important. It's actually self-reflection.
Right.
So a simple thing like going for a yoga class, if you can come back and reflect how that has an effect on you, versus, so there are different yoga teachers also. Like sometimes the practice is slow. Sometimes the practice is a very strong Ashtanga practice. So when I teach yoga, I actually go by the energy of the class.
Right.
If people want a strong practice that day, we will do a strong practice. If somebody wants a slower practice, it's very hot in the summer, they need to slow down. So then it's a slower practice. So self-reflecting on what practice works for you. Like an Ashtanga practice might not work. A Vinyasa flow will not work for everybody. Versus a slower practice, a yin yoga will not work for everyone because they are hyper and they need to use their energy versus lying in one posture. So that self-reflection will only come if you spend time with yourself, which is what also like helps like a Vipassana Anapana meditation, right? Vipassana Anapana, when you go, they make you do the Anapana technique for 3 days. For 3 days, 9 hours a day, you're concentrating only on your breath. Only on your breath. And that actually brings so much awareness in you. Then they tell you, okay, now you're ready to meditate. So to sit with yourself, like just try it today. Like just sit for 5 minutes and just concentrate on your breath. And they will be the longest 5 minutes of your life. Versus going on Instagram and scrolling where 5 hours are gone.
Because everybody is just living this fast-paced life.
It's fast-paced. It's your brain has stopped working, right? It's just like you're just going on taking information. It's on this algorithm mode. You're becoming an algorithm. Are you realizing you're becoming that?
Our attention spans are getting smaller.
Exactly. You have no patience for people. You don't have time for yourself. Forget other people. That's why nowadays, like if you talk to people, they're like irritated all the time because they don't have the space. That they don't hold the space for themselves. How are they going to hold space for someone else?
Right.
So but we have to start somewhere.
I think that's this is the initiative. I think people should take some note from it.
You have to start. I think whatever works for you. Like, I don't believe that you only have to do yogic things.
Right.
If affirmations work for you, like Aham Brahmasmi says, I am that. So if affirmations work for you, just write, I am abundance, I am bliss, I am this. Whatever works for you. If chanting works for you, do that. If energy work works for you, like a Reiki healing, go to a healer and just say that these are my intentions.
Right.
I want to feel better. I want to feel anything that works for you, any sadhan, whichever works for you, but do it consistently over a period of time. Don't say today I'm like journaling. Okay, tomorrow I'm doing candle. Oh, this is a new workshop. I'm attending that. This initially in the initial phases, it's fine because what happens is that you explore options. on what is working for you. But after a point, you have to like do a reflection and say, okay, this is what works for me. I'll stick to this 5 minute schedule and try it for like 6 weeks and then see.
Right.
That's when you can explore.
Correct.
Otherwise, I see like people who want to be spiritual, are spiritual, or on this journey. It's great. But then from years, they're just exploring. They're exploring this, they're exploring that. And then what? So don't get into that chakkar of, exploring. Draw the line and do your sadhana every day for 5 minutes.